Hello, Matujama and you're watching HornbillTV's Prime at 9. Now headlines. Meghalaya Chief Minister and Chief of the National People's Party, Konrad Sangma, in a press conference with media persons, he stressed that there is no solution in one go, but the AFSPA is not helping either when it comes to containing law and order. Several resident doctors across the country continue their protests, warned to withdraw all healthcare services from tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India is the second largest startup hub in the world. Today, India has emerged as the second largest startup hub in the world. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav denied any link with Kanpur businessman Piyush Jain. Slammed Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, saying Kanpur incidents show demonetization has failed. Speaking at the 54th convocation ceremony at IIT Kanpur, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on December 28 said that India is the second largest startup hub in the world. In this 75th year of independence, we have over 75 unicorns, over 50,000 startups. Of these, 10,000 have come only in the last 6 months. Today, India has emerged as the second largest startup hub in the world, said Prime Minister Modi.
75 से अधिक यूनिकॉर्न्स है, 50,000 से अधिक स्टार्टअप है। इनमें से 10,000 स्टार्टअप तो केवल पिछले 6 महीनों में आए हैं। आज भारत दुनिया का दूसरा सबसे बड़ा स्टार्टअप हब बनकर उभरा है। कितने स्टार्टअप्स तो हमारी आईआईटीज के युवाओं ने ही शुरू किए हैं। अभी हाल ही के एक रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक भारत दुनिया के कई विकसित देशों को पीछे छोड़कर तीसरा सबसे बड़ा यूनिकॉर्न कंट्री बन गया है। साथियों, आजकल ग्लोबलाइजेशन की बात होती है, उसके पक्ष विपक्ष पर भी बात होती है, लेकिन एक बात पर कोई विवाद नहीं है। कौन भारतीय नहीं चाहेगा कि भारत की कंपनियां ग्लोबल बने, भारत के प्रोडक्ट ग्लोबल बने। जो आईआईटीज को जानता है, यहां के टैलेंट को जानता है, यहां के प्रोफेसर्स की मेहनत को जानता है, वही विश्वास करता है।
While addressing at the convocation ceremony, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on December 28 said that IIT Kanpur has given priceless gift to world of technology. Today is a day of double happiness for Kanpur. On one hand, Kanpur is getting metro rail facility, and on the other hand, the world of technology is also getting priceless gifts from IIT Kanpur, said Prime Minister Modi.
जितने पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय, सुंदर सिंह भंडारी जी और अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जैसे विजनरी नेतृत्व को गढ़ने में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है। और आज सिर्फ कानपुर को ही खुशी ऐसा नहीं है, वरुण देवता जी को भी इस खुशी में हिस्सा लेने का मन कर गया। साथियों, कानपुर के लोगों का जो मिजाज है, जो कानपुरिया अंदाज है, जो उनकी हाजिर जवाबी है।
Several resident doctors across the country continue their protests against the delay in NEET PG counselling and warned to withdraw all healthcare services from Wednesday. Federation of All India Medical Association calls for complete withdrawal from all healthcare services across the country from 8 a.m. on December 29. in protest against brute force by Delhi police against doctors. The protesters have also demanded an apology from the Delhi police over cops' stern action during their Monday's Supreme Court march. On the other hand, the standoff between the doctors and the government has increased the problems of the patients coming to the hospitals for their treatment. Due to the doctors being on strike, patients have to return without treatment. On Monday, a protest march was held by the resident doctors towards the Supreme Court. However, they were stopped midway by the Delhi police. As the doctors were not allowed to continue their march, they surrendered their medical apron on the road to register the protest. The doctors allege they were trashed and dragged during their march to the top court.
2022 आने वाला है, जो कि 2021 की काउंसलिंग भी अभी हमारे पास नहीं हुई है, जिसकी वजह से नए डॉक्टर्स नहीं आए हैं। जो हमारे यंग डॉक्टर्स हैं, एमबीबीएस करने के बाद वो घर पर बैठे हुए हैं, वो वर्क करना चाहते हैं, बट इस नीट काउंसलिंग ना होने की वजह से वो अपनी सेवा नहीं दे पा रहे हैं। और जैसा कि हम देख भी रहे हैं, केसेस फिर से बढ़ रहे हैं कोरोना के। तीसरी लहर संभावित है अगले 1-2 महीने में जो आ सकती है। उसके लिए हमें फाइट करने के लिए नए डॉक्टर्स की ज़रूरत होगी, और ताकि अगर काउंसलिंग फास्ट अगर होगी तो उससे हमें नए डॉक्टर्स मिल सकेंगे और हम कोरोना से अच्छी तरीके से लड़ सकेंगे। बट ये काउंसलिंग नहीं हो रही है, जिसकी वजह से हमारी जो मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज़ की जो सेवाएं वो प्रभावित हो रही हैं, और वो सेवा प्रभावित ना हो उसके लिए हम ये काउंसलिंग कर रहे हैं, ये हड़ताल कर रहे हैं, ताकि काउंसलिंग जल्दी से जल्दी हो सके।
To get to know more about this, we'll be joined by our colleague Elle from the newsroom. So Elle, could you please tell us why the resident doctors are exactly protesting?
The protests are centered around the NEET counseling process. The issue intensified on Monday when the Federation for All India Medical Association they threatened the government of India that they will withdraw their services from the country from 8 p.m. Tomorrow. So the issue is getting a little bit more intense now, with various issues from the original issue that we know, which is the NEET PG counseling. About 50,000 MBBS doctors, residents who are currently engaged in the healthcare services in the country, they are protesting the delay. So now they are a very important workforce that support the healthcare infrastructure and the health medical services and the workforce in India.
Alright, so could you please give us more details on what NEET PG counseling is? Could you please explain that to us more in a more detailed manner?
Yeah, the NEET PG, it's a ranking examination for students who aspire to pursue medical courses, and it's one of the country's biggest examination entrance tests in the country, and this is a very coveted position which anyone who aspires to join a medical college and pursue a medical career, they are the first ones. This examination is the first one that they go to, and this is very competitive. Currently the counseling process is based on the ranking given from the NEET marks that they receive. The students, based on their performance during the NEET examinations, they are given a slot in a merit list, which is again divided into 2 groups. So if you are successful and you get good marks, you'll be placed in the merit list, for instance. And in the merit list there will be 2 categories. One is domicile and one is non-domicile. For domicile students, if you happen to be from a particular state and you have a medical college from where you can study, you don't have to go anywhere else in the country to pursue a medical course. But for non-domicile students, if you get good marks and you're placed in the second category, you can go anywhere else in the country where you can pursue a medical course. And these seats are allotted on reservation basis.
Alright, so according to the reports that we have, the resident doctors are protesting because the NEET PG counseling has been delayed. So could you also tell us why has it been delayed?
It was a regular affair until the pandemic happened. The pandemic caused the counseling to be delayed, and that was where the whole issue started. During the time the pandemic started, the counseling was about to continue, but then the pandemic started, they couldn't do so. So again, in that process, there were a lot of cases that were filed in the court against some criteria mentioned in the new reservation process. So the cases also delayed the counseling process again, and then again the government of India, they came up with a new criteria where they said that economically weaker sections of the society, the candidates of which are in the NEET PG counseling, who are in the NEET counseling, they are supposed to have this much amount of annual income. So when the Supreme Court questioned the center again, the center said we'll have to review it again, and it will take about four weeks. So again, that was one reason the counseling process was delayed.
Right, we can see that the doctors have called for a nationwide shutdown. So we would also want to know if this will affect Nagaland as well.
So far, we have no indication that the medical fraternity in Nagaland will be joining the agitations as called by the All India Medical Association. If there are any updates, then we'll certainly update our viewers about it.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Atu.
Meghalaya Chief Minister and Chief of the National People's Party, Konark Sangma, in a press conference with media persons in Dimapur said that the draconian law of AFSPA does not have a place in a democratic society that we live in today. He stressed that there is no solution in one go, but the AFSPA is not helping either when it comes to containing law and order to its full aspect. Saying that many factors are involved for the AFSPA to be repealed, Sangma took example of Meghalaya and said that apart from good law and order situation in the state, a lot of lobbying at the center is also needed for it to happen.
There were many circumstances that led to the repeal, or I should say the removal of AFSPA from Meghalaya, and a lot had to do with the law and order situation improving. We saw that law and order had really improved in the sense that there were very, very minimum incidents taking place in the state of Meghalaya in terms of insurgency. At the same time, there was a huge push from the state government. As I said, we have been really very, very aggressive about it, and we have always stood and maintained our stand that we want AFSPA to be repealed. And so state governments also play a very important role. Because again, law and order is a situation which is handled by the state government. Then of course, a lot of lobbying and a lot of persuasion has to be done in Delhi. So all these factors put together had convinced Delhi, and we are thankful to the government of India, especially to the Home Ministry. I'm sure that the state government and the central government have been talking about this particular issue. So right now, with the incidents that took place in the last month, we have seen that it is clearly shown that AFSPA has been something that has only been counterproductive. It should be repealed in Nagaland and also in other parts of the Northeast. So we urge both the state government and the central government to work towards ensuring that this particular act is repealed from the state of Nagaland. You see, one cannot say that there can be a solution in one go. We are neither claiming that things will be okay or not, with something which really is difficult to say for us right now. But definitely AFSPA is not helping. That's what we're trying to say. Can we solve everything if AFSPA is not there? We can't say. But we know for sure that AFSPA is not helping the entire situation. So that's really what our point is. When we're looking at a situation like this, we need to understand that that insurgency is a result of a lot of other socio-economic problems. So here we are trying to address insurgency, which is a result of the socio-economic problems, by using military force. So therefore, the entire process of finding a solution to the problem, I feel, is not in the right way. So we need to have, of course, security measures. We need to have force as and when required, but not in this form. It cannot be in this form. Number two, it has to go hand in hand with other socio-economic activities which will build up the overall economic avenues for the people. Third and most important thing is that there needs to be trust between all the stakeholders. So therefore, repeal of the AFSPA at this point in time would create a very strong message for trust and confidence building. and the trust deficit which may be there present right now could to some extent be brought down, and some confidence building could come up, which is very important when we are talking of resolving situations like these. And therefore, as I said, we are not saying that whether we are ready or not to handle the situation if it is repealed. But as I said, we have clearly seen in the last many decades that AFSPA being there has not really helped. It has really been counterproductive in many sense. And as I said, it has something that has really aggravated the situation in a lot of cases. And the recent incident that happened is yet another example of that counterproductivity. Ultimately, when we want to resolve an issue like this without having the stakeholders and the community and the civil society being part of this, we will never be able to find an acceptable and a long-lasting solution to this. So why they didn't call, it's difficult for me to say, but they should have called. And I'm sure if they have not called, then I'm sure there will be an exercise where they will call civil society, and they should call. And I will be visiting Delhi, as I said, tomorrow. I have a meeting with the finance minister. And also I'll be meeting, I have sought an appointment with the Home Minister. I will be also personally briefing the situation which I've collected and gathered information from Nagaland regarding the incident. And I would also brief him from my side on the situation that is prevailing out here.
The Western Sumi Kukami Hoho today celebrated its 25th Silver Jubilee at the Sumi Cultural Center, Vikoho Village, Newland, under the theme Preserving Ancestral Values. PHED Minister Jacob Jumomi, who was also the chief guest of the event, unveiled the monolith and also inaugurated the Western Sumi Kukami Hoho Silver Jubilee Memorial Building. Founder President WSKH Dr. P. Nuhoto Chishi released the Jubilee souvenir, and Reverend Dr. Pugoti Sema, Executive Secretary WSBAK, said the prayer. Let's have a look at the Silver Jubilee program with our reporter Adona.
Azala ki gondola ki osindu simla ki eti nye dia chi makashi sai kumsi mera shi ve proves benish mogi hidulane jubli kumga sajama sagi hidulane ako online ka mobo na giu zai masagi bi bilaula sani to ko ne shik tekline ki bo ki ako oleh mo yue al sa zana ma do am pula ba ni agar ko sa zana ma do ni e ko no ke bo le mo se ni mo to la ba ya je pa mo ge ye mo ti bu ko ge la ko ka bu ko mo ko ko se al bi shi so pe se ko sa ni ki al ni shi ti shi ben shi yu bi la ni ne ishi azam nu si mi na ngam zla al ho na ni ha ba ge ne这不知道啥的，你不老心慌了，心慌了。爱给人心思不解决了，你公司不给你，阿婆不给你，那心情不给你，阿拉们就是给你，阿拉们就是，阿下一，别是那你比你们老苦噻，大家都不行了。必须的，我们拉拢那好是嘛耶，阿拉那阿们那咋是嘛耶，是什么东西？是明天的白天么？一些是什么东西？阿拉那是那还是去做？阿拉那一说啦，以后人数没咋来怎么行？一定那你啥不么？阿拉那你啥不还打外给呢？干过，弄东西我还那嘛别给了，那个咩，那好多那是咩？आप है ना लाकी है स्टेट मंगे नागा में निकला के ये नागा में शायद वो सिम शायद है कि शायद वो ना खासा के बुका है खासा के बुका महाक्यों लगा है हम लोग कुम तो लगा है एक एक पहने आज के लाभ तो नहीं मोटी हम लगा है सिम ना नागा मोना हो ना पे इमेज में क्यों आशा डिपो nhưng tại này là làm có sự nên sự cũng sai.
Mimi Students Union today organized a workshop on skill development at Mimi Village, with Munyomong and Soyumla as the resource person for the event. The skill development workshop was attended by about 150 students and village elders. In the practical session held, the boys were taught on various basket making while the girls were taught knitting. Meanwhile, the resource persons laid stress on the importance of skill development and emphasized on practical learning. The students were also reminded to be self-reliant while learning this skill education. Later, the finished products of the students were exhibited and 3 best works of the students were awarded with some amount of cash prizes. Amid COVID-19 scare, the Delhi government has enforced a level 1 yellow alert of the Graded Response Action Plan or GRAP as the COVID-19 positivity rate has been above 0.5% for the past few days. The government is enforcing level 1 yellow alert of the Graded Response Action Plan, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said in a press conference. A detailed order and restrictions to be implemented will be released soon. Kejriwal said,
ताकि एक साइंटिफिक तरीके से पता रहे कि भाई इतना कोरोना हो जाएगा तो ये बंद कर देंगे, इतना कोरोना हो जाएगा तो ये बंद कर देंगे। उसमें हमने लिखा था कि अगर 0.5% से ज़्यादा पॉजिटिविटी रेट होगा 2 दिन तक लगातार, तो ऐसे हालात के अंदर येलो लेवल आ जाएगा, एक लेवल 1 आ जाएगा और उसमें हम ये चीज़ें बंद करेंगे। तो 0.5% से ज़्यादा 2-3 दिन से चल रहा है, इसीलिए लेवल 1 जो है ग्रेडेड एक्शन प्लान का, उसको लागू करने का निर्णय लिया गया है। कुछ चीज़ों के ऊपर पाबंदियां लगाई जा रही हैं।
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami virtually attended inauguration program of 27 projects constructed by Border Roads Organization. While speaking to ANI, CM Dhami said, today Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated 24 bridges and 3 roads constructed by BRO. This reflects the new India and fulfills Prime Minister Modi's vision of self-reliant India.
3 रोड देश को समर्पित की गई हैं। लोकार्पण आज BRO के तत्वाधान में माननीय रक्षा मंत्री जी द्वारा किया गया है, जिसमें 2235 करोड़ की लागत से निर्मित यह पुल और रोड नए भारत के प्रतिबिंब हैं और साथ ही साथ जो आत्मनिर्भर भारत का हमारा स्वप्न है, माननीय हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो विजन है, उसके अनुरूप आज ये पुल और ये सड़क देश को समर्पित की गई है। इसमें उत्तराखंड में भी तवाघाट घटिया बगड़ को जोड़ने वाला धस्कू पुल, जुलजेबी मुनस्यारी को जोड़ने वाला गौरीगाड़ पुल और सिमली ग्वालदम को जोड़ने वाला बादामगढ़ पुल हैं। इन तीनों को जुड़ने से हमारे सीमांत क्षेत्र में और जो
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on December 28 inaugurated 27 projects constructed by the Border Roads Organization. In today's era, distance is not measured in kilometers but in hours. Broad road tunnels and bridges have reduced the distance and time between places today, said Singh.
ब्रिज के 27 प्रोजेक्ट्स का एक साथ लोकार्पण हुआ है। मुझे बतलाया गया है कि सब मिलाजुलाकर लगभग 2245 करोड़ रुपए की लागत से इन सब सारी परियोजनाओं के निर्माण का कार्य पूरा हुआ है। आज के युग में दूरी किलोमीटर्स में नहीं, आवर्स में नापी जाती है। BRO के रोड्स, टनल्स और ब्रिजेज ने आज स्थानों के बीच की दूरी और समय बहुत कम कर दिया है। यानी सीमावर्ती क्षेत्रों से जुड़े लोग दिल के पास तो हैं ही, दिल्ली के पास भी हैं। साथियों, सीमाई इलाकों के विकास की कुछ खास जरूरतें हैं जिन पर हमने ध्यान दिया और उन पर जमीनी स्तर पर काम भी किया गया है। हमने देखा कि इन इलाकों में कैपिटल इन्फ्यूजन की जरूरत है जो बिना कनेक्टिविटी के संभव नहीं हो सकता। इसके लिए जहां एक और हमने देश के आंतरिक हिस्सों में भारतमाला जैसी परियोजनाओं के तहत रोड्स, हाईवेज, एक्सप्रेसवेज का निर्माण किया, नए रेलवे ट्रैक्स और एयरफील्ड्स की संख्या बढ़ाई, वहीं सीमाई इलाकों में भी रोडवेज, रेलवेज, हाईवेज, वाटरवेज और एयर
Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav denied any link with Kanpur businessman Piyush Jain and slammed Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, saying Kanpur incident shows demonetization has failed. Raids on businessman Piyush Jain's house and establishments in Kanpur not linked with Samajwadi Party at all, said Akhilesh Yadav. This incident shows that demonetization has failed, and officials who conducted raids may tell sources of recovered newly printed ₹2,000 notes, said Akhilesh Yadav.
करके कोई झूठ बोले, भगवा वस्त्र पहन करके झूठ बोले, तो उसमें कोई भरोसा कैसे करेगा? ये मुख्यमंत्री उत्तर प्रदेश के जो कह रहे हैं कि कानपुर में जो पैसा निकला है वो कहीं ना कहीं समाजवादियों से या इत्र बनाने वाले कारोबारी से रिश्ता जुड़ता है, इससे बड़ा झूठ मुख्यमंत्री कोई बोल नहीं सकते जो मुख्यमंत्री बोल रहे हैं। आखिरकार जिम्मेदारी किसकी थी? ये जो पैसा निकला है क्या हवाई जहाज से आया होगा तो भारत सरकार है, ट्रेन से आया होगा तो इनकी सरकार है, सड़क के माध्यम से आया होगा तो इनकी सरकार है, अगर पानी के जहाज से आया होगा तो इनकी सरकार है। आखिर जिम्मेदार को।
That's all we have for now. Keep watching Hornbill TV.